And now I'm looking at him and I'm seeing something ain't right. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, wait a minute. But I still don't know what the name of it is. Still don't know what that is. So, I was talking to somebody at work one day and I said, he did X, Y, and Z. And she says, wait a minute, he sounds like my ex. I think he might be a narcissist. And I said, nah, but you say a word to me and I don't know nothing about it, I'm going to go look it up, right? And that's what I did. And the first time I looked it up, he was fitting some of the descriptions, but not all of them. So I was like, nah, I got this. And then the second time, when he did fit the whole description, I said, I was already soul tied, traumatized. I was already too far in to just walk away. So I stopped reading on narcissism because I didn't want to believe it about him until I had to. And then I had to figure out what was wrong with me because now I just told you I figured this out in year 1, but I stayed 5 years.
What happened from day 1 to that moment where he flipped the switch on you that caused him to flip the switch on you?
So what caused him to flip the switch on me was that simply he just wanted to do what he wanted to do. So around 30 days is when I noticed like something was wrong. Just judging the text messages, because I don't actually remember that specific day, but just judging the text messages, I know that I met him in September. The end of September was good. October was good, but that's when it started to get a little rocky, and that's what I mean, the first 30 days. That's also when I found out he was married.
Hold up now. What's up, beautiful people? It is your favorite light, MB. Welcome to another episode of the Confidence Way podcast, where we are shining light on the darkness that is domestic violence and abuse. If you've never been here before, I need you to know something. We got 3 goals: to educate, empower, and encourage. We are here to educate anyone who has never been in an abusive relationship so that they can see exactly what happens. Like, what's going on? Why aren't you leaving? How did you get there? We're going to talk about it. We're here to empower all of our survivors to share their story without shame, fear, guilt, or judgment, because you are strong, you are powerful, and your voice deserves to be heard. And we are also here to encourage anyone who is currently suffering in silence, to let you know that you are not alone, you are not crazy, abuse is not normal, your feelings are valid, and despite how it may look and feel in this moment, there's always a way out. So please seek support. Now we got to go ahead and hop on in this thing, because we got to rise above these insecurities, release the burdens of shame and guilt, and revive our God-given power, purpose, and passion the confidence way. So we about to light it up. Welcome to another episode of the Confidence Way podcast. And I've said it before, so I'm going to say it again. I don't know what you're doing, but I do believe you need to keep all hands and arms inside the vehicle at all times, because you need to be buckled up for safety for this one. We are blessed to have another amazing, beautiful, strong, courageous, powerful, just all things light on this show. So put your hands together and welcome today's guest, Miss Cassandra. Pew, pew,
Thank
pew, pew.
you. Good introduction.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
It's a great day to be alive, girl.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know.
Yes.
Child. And we gonna listen, and we gonna find out. So
absolutely.
we're gonna dive right in this thing. We're gonna dive right in. And my first question for you is, before you found yourself in an abusive relationship, have you ever seen or witnessed or experienced it from a peripheral standpoint growing up?
So before that situation, I might have experienced it prior to in different aspects of my life, but without it having a name or understanding what it was that I was dealing with. It wasn't until I did some research and then had to look back over my life to say, hey, I was in this situation at this time, but I just didn't know what it was.
Okay. So before we even hop on Homeboy, let's unpack that, because it is so common that people are in abusive situations or relationships and they don't even realize that it's abuse until years later. So what was it that you were in or around that as you got older and you did more research, you was like, hold up now, that's what that was?
Yeah. I was adopted at a very young age, so I kind of switched households a few times in my childhood life. And Some of the things I noticed when I had to look back was the way I was disciplined, the need to feel like I had to please people, the need to feel. I wanted to feel love, right? And I was being passed around. I went through some traumatic experiences in the households that I was in. I knew it was bad, but I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know um, why it started. For instance, like my adopted mom, um, she would get angry, and I didn't know why. It was as soon as I opened up my mouth, and I just didn't understand why. Stuff like that, or the ignore tactics and stuff like that. I didn't understand that younger.
Okay. And so you were saying that as you look back on it, certain things as far as like how you were disciplined, what were some of the things that was happening that now you can look back and say that just wasn't right?
The beatings. It was the beatings.
So you were beat, like it wasn't like go grab a switch and get a spanking.
No, it was grab the switch and I got beat with a switch. I pretty much got hit with whatever was around sometimes. Um and then it went from that extreme to the hugging and the loving. And so that right there was, if I could think back further enough, was my first confusion into what love was and what was supposed to be tolerated, because I was beat and then I was hugged. I was beat and then I was kissed. And so I grew up thinking that that was normal, as long as the beatings was followed by some type of hug or affection or acknowledgement.
Now, when you say followed by, give us like a, I know this is a long time ago, but give us a time frame as far as once the beating was over, how soon was the affection or the love being dumped on you?
Um, After I woke up from that long nap, I'm gonna give you a little humor too, right? Because I have to
Hey,
laugh sometimes.
let me real quick, let me just say this because I've said it in other episodes, but for anyone who is just joining in, this is a safe space. And oftentimes we have during our conversations, we're laughing. And it's not that this isn't a serious situation. It's not that it's not a serious conversation because I gave myself the word I'm silliest, which means I'm serious and I'm silly. But it's it's an example or maybe a guiding hope for anyone who's currently in a situation to see there is another side, there is a better side, and you are going to be better on the other side. So
Absolutely.
if you're offended by our sniggles and giggles throughout this conversation, this might not be the show for you. And that's perfectly okay with us. But just so y'all know, we have experienced this. It is serious. It was serious. But the fact that we can laugh about certain things in our conversation means that we have come a long way on our healing journey. And we're able to show other people that this is not the end all be all for you once you decide to leave or once you
Right.
get out.
Right.
Dang, so
So
they beat you to sleep and then you wake up and it's a whole different person.
it's yeah. And so naturally you want that loving person majority of the time, right? And so I felt myself always trying to to get back to that happy place, right? Let's take into consideration. I just told you that I was adopted, and I stayed in one predominantly house, but then she got sick, and I had to move around, which caused a lot of chaos in my childhood. But I was strong. I always kept a smile on my face. Nobody knew what I was going through, and so everybody thinks that I was the strongest of them all, and I wore that hat because it felt like the right thing to do instead of cry out for help.
How do you think suppressing everything and hiding everything that you were growing up through impacted you as an adult or as a younger adult?
Yeah. Um, as so suppressing it means that I carried that through my young adult life. I carried it into my adult life. Um, but suppressing it wasn't the right thing to do. But I didn't find that out until after the nervous breakdown, after the anxiety, after the attacks. That I had suppressed so much over the years, and going into that relationship, it was it felt natural, right? It felt like that was the way that it was supposed to go because that was all that I really knew.
Mm. So let's get in the nitty gritty. Let's get in the nitty gritty, because a lot of times, and I'm excited to hear how it transitioned for you. But a lot of times, when someone is introduced to a person who has an abusive tendency or an abusive nature, that person presents this charming, charismatic, loving, angelic, I'm here to serve you, queen energy. That's what
I
happened with
got
you.
that. I got that. I got all of that. I got all of that. I got everything that I ever wanted. He was everything that I ever wanted in a person. Um, I got all that, but I only got it for about 30 days.
After meeting him.
I only got it for about 30 days. I have every text message from the first time that we met. And around a 30-day mark, um, is when I look back now, right? Because I went back through those messages on my healing journey to see where I went wrong, right? And in less than 30 days, I it went sour, right? But it came back. He came back with the love bombing again. So what is that? That's the same pattern that I grew up with, right? I hurt you and then I love you. I hurt you and then I love you. And now we forming a bond where we're supposed to be solid because of the pain and the hurt. And we think that that's okay, and it's not. It doesn't make you solid. It doesn't mean loyalty. Like I had to learn that loyalty and unconditional love has to have some type of boundaries. Mines were given without boundaries.
Child, girl, you said that right there. Before I hop into that 30-day mark, I just want to put a pin in something really, really quick. Not just the how they start off as the charming, charismatic, the everything you look for, but when we don't understand our own value, when we don't know our own worth, when we aren't confident in who we are, and we haven't, even before getting involved with anybody, taking time to set up what we will and will not put up with, we convince ourselves that if I walk away, then I'm not that ride or die. I'm not loyal. And for some reason, and I really believe it's because we don't know our true value and our true worth, we think it's our responsibility to prove ourselves to someone regardless of how they're acting. Baby, it is not. Your job is not to see how much you can take to prove that you are loyal, to prove that you are a good woman, to prove that you are wife material. That's not your job, or husband, or good man. It's not your job. Your job is to love you enough to walk away when someone's not loving you back.
And instead of walking away, I ran after. And instead of turning around, I ran after. I begged. I pleaded. I did anything. And I felt, and in that moment, I felt like that was a strong woman. Whereas now I know that that was an unhealed woman, right? Be- because after you study narcissism, then you have to take accountability, right? You have to find out, well, where did I go wrong?
Say that
And so,
again. Say it
yeah,
again, please.
after studying narcissism, I had to take some accountability for some of my actions as well because I had a choice.
Child, you about to get me shouting over here. When I tell you, because people, like, I don't call myself a victim. I don't refer to anyone else who has been in an abusive relationship a victim, especially if you're on the other side, you're a survivor. But so many times we forget to, when we haven't healed, when we haven't done a self-assessment along with a relationship assessment, we forget to take responsibility of the fact that you kept saying yes, you kept going back, kept choosing to stay. Like, we made the decision, even though it may have been a decision under distress, it may have been a decision where we felt like this was the only option and there was no other way. we still have to take responsibility in our role. And when I'm saying that to anyone who's listening who may be in an abusive relationship, I'm not saying you're responsible for their actions to you. It doesn't matter what you say or what you do. You don't deserve anyone to be abusive towards you.
No.
You're not here to take that. But you're also not here to say that it wasn't, nothing was like you weren't there because of anything you did. We actively made the decision in most cases to, once that flag was shown, to keep pursuing that person beyond the
over and over and over again for 5 years. Yeah.
You ain't alone.
Yeah.
You are not alone. Okay, so
it's everything.
he love bombed you. He was everything. He was all the beautiful words, support, only for 30 days. What do you remember? What happened from day one to that moment where he flipped the switch on you that caused him to flip the switch on you?
So, what caused him to flip the switch on me was that simply he just wanted to do what he wanted to do. So, around 30 days is when I noticed like something was wrong. Just judging the text messages, because I don't actually remember that specific day, but just judging the text messages, I know that I met him in September. The end of September was good. October was good, but that's when it started to get a little rocky, and that's what I mean. The first 30 days. Um, that's also when I found out he was married.
Hold up now. Was he married and still living, like actively married, or was he on paper married?
So he was okay. So he was on paper married. His wife stayed in Georgia, and he was here in Florida. Now I'm gonna tell you something really, really scary in a few minutes. Okay, he was in Florida when I started talking to him. Now I met him on a dating app. So I told you I met him in September, right? But I actually talked to him before September and didn't know that he was the same guy.
On the dating app or in person?
Or the dating app.
So he had two separate profiles?
No. Well, kind of. So I met this guy on a dating profile, and this guy is asking me all these questions. And I'm new to dating. I have been single for like 13 years. I'm new to dating. He's asking me all these questions. I'm having this conversation with him, and he seems like a great guy. And I go to see, well, where does he stay? Because I would love to meet this man. And he lives in Georgia. So I said to him, hey, I'm not into nothing long distance. I don't want that. I'm looking for somebody that I can spend some time with. This is not going to work. And I blocked him. That was the end of the conversation. And he said, oh, well, I wish I was closer. Da, 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 da. So I got off the dating app because nothing was really popping, and I got bored again, got back on a dating app at a later date, and I meet this guy, and this guy is telling me X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, gosh, it's almost like I know him, but I would love to meet. Oh, he's right here near me. I want to meet him. We're going to meet. So we talked for a little while, and then we met. On our first date, when I got his Facebook page, he was in a picture on his Facebook page with a black curtain, one that seemed very familiar to me, to the guy that was in Georgia. But this guy is here in Florida, and there's no coincidence. That couldn't happen, right? So, long story short, about a couple months later, he tells me he knows who I am, but I didn't know who he was. So he was the same guy, and he left Georgia, came to Florida, found me on the app again, told me everything that I had told him the first meet. And that was what made me fall for him, because he already knew what I wanted. That's the truth. So he told his wife he was going to St. Pete to visit family, and he stayed. So she was expecting him to come home. He meets me and stays. And so you can imagine how that blew up, right? I had her at my neck. We are friends now, but she was on my neck.
Hold up. because we driving through a residential area and it says, please slow down for children. It's too many speed bumps. Wait a
Yeah.
second. Okay,
Yeah.
so did both of the profiles that he had have his picture on them on the dating app?
They had pictures of him. But that black curtain was significant because when I saw that picture, I was like, well, what room is this black curtain hanging in? The first time I had saw it, on his new profile, when he found me the second time, that picture wasn't there. But when he gave me his Facebook and his real name and everything, that picture was there. And then when we were at dinner when this happened, and I said to him, have you spoke to me before? And he goes, yeah, I used to talk to you when I lived in Georgia. And I said to him, how long have you been living here? He says, I've been living here a year. I'm so blowed that I don't know that it couldn't have been a year because I spoke to you less than a year. It was been a few months. Totally threw me off. Totally threw me off. Told me he was here for over a year. He had been divorced over a year and everything. And came to find out he had a wife that was waiting for him to come home. And he
So
never went back.
he was married, but he just dipped out on the marriage. Like they weren't divorced, they weren't separated, and they just hadn't filed paperwork. He was just like, hey, baby.
They had an argument. He was going to visit family and was supposed to return home. He was supposed to take a little 2-week vacation and return home. And he did not. We met between that time and he decided to, I guess he decided to stay because I don't know. He was homeless too. So it's just a lot going on. It's a lot. He was living at his sister's house, but he was living in his car. He told me he had his own place. And around that month mark, when I started applying that pressure, like I need to see your place, that's when all hell started breaking loose. Things wasn't adding up.
Okay. Let's dial it back from 50 to 35.
Okay.
So you meet him. Now, because y'all, this is a judgment-free zone, and I just want to let y'all know that flags and signs are always there. We just choose to ignore them. I'm guilty of it. I had my share of fair signs and flags, and I was like, no, this ain't, and you just let it slide. But we can't let them slide.
Not no more.
We have to apply the pressure, and then the response to the pressure shows us if we need to just go ahead and dip up out of it. Okay, so y'all meet up for dinner. Till you start putting 2 and 2 together, and you like, hold up, I know you from somewhere. And he's like, yeah, well, actually, you do. But I'm going to lie to you. That's bananas for him to even be bold enough to lie to you about something, knowing that he remembered when y'all talked on the dating app.
And he knew who I was. It felt like an invasion of privacy because you knew who I was and I had no idea who you was. But at the same time, I'm gonna tell you what, it felt like fate too. It felt like, oh, we were meant to be together.
You talking my language, boo. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Oh, you did that for me? For little old me? And then the wife got a hold of me in my inbox. Now, before she got a hold of me, he said, listen, my ex-wife is crazy. She gonna tell you we still married. She gonna try to run you off. She gonna try to run you off. You gotta have thick skin. So are you with me? Are we gonna do this together? Like we were a team? Yeah.
Listen, the ex is always crazy, ain't they?
First time somebody has said to me, my ex is crazy though. Because you got to take into consideration, I've only had 3 relationships in my life. I'm 45. I've only dated, I've went on dates, but I've only had 3 relationships. So I'm already not exposed to what's out there because I'm home.
But were the other 2 abusive?
So, no.
Okay. The reason I'm touching on the fact that the ex is crazy is because that's a common denominator line for any person who is narcissistic, abusive. Their exes are always the crazy one. Let them tell it. And in all honesty, sometimes they are crazy because you drove them crazy. Like when you're in a relationship like that, you
Yeah,
question your sanity.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
and you do crazy things.
but
Mhm.
I wanted to say that because that's what they say. From all of the conversations that I've had, if anybody's either just recently out of a relationship, still in a relationship, or they've been through plenty of relationships, they're like their preface is anytime somebody brings up the ex, the first thing, man, but that person crazy. But
She
yours went,
crazy. She gonna attack you. Um, she's done this to this person. I left her over a year. We've been divorced over a year. I had another girlfriend before you, and she ran her off. And so me from New York, oh, she ain't finna do it to me. So when she
girl, I'm from the Bronx. You don't know.
about it, I'm about it. Like she's not doing that to me. But guess what that did? It took all the attention off of him. It put me in a ring to fight her for our first year, right? Fought this girl over a year, going back and forth, going back. So I'm not paying attention to him because I'm in fight mode. I'm defending myself. After the year, when she decided she wasn't doing this no more, no, he left me 1,001 times and drove to Georgia. Told me he was one place, was all the way in Georgia with her. He did that for like the first year too, and then he so I'm focused on her, right? Because he got us fighting. He telling her stuff about me, he telling me stuff about her. And I have never been in this type of situation, but all I know is I'm not gonna lose, right? After that year is when she started less communicating with me or starting with me. And now I'm looking at him and I'm seeing something ain't right. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, wait a minute. But I still don't know what the name of it is. Still don't know what that is. So I was talking to somebody at work one day and I said, he did X, Y, and Z. And she says, wait a minute, he sounds like my ex. I think he might be a narcissist. And I said, nah, but you say a word to me and I don't know nothing about it. I'm going to go look it up. Right. And that's what I did. And the first time I looked it up, he was fitting some of the descriptions, but not all of them. So I was like, nah, I got this. And then the second time when he did fit the whole description, I said, I was already soul tied, traumatized. I was already too far in to just walk away. So I stopped reading on narcissism because I didn't want to believe it about him until I had to. And then I had to figure out what was wrong with me because I just told you I figured this out in year one, but I stayed 5 years.
Okay. So we still ain't even talking about the first 30 days because Claude have mercy. We hanging in there though.
I remember we went to a hotel and we were parking and he got upset. I was on the phone and I was laughing, I was joking, and he was trying to talk to me as he was parking. And I didn't realize that he was trying to talk to me. And again, I'm from New York. And so when he snapped on me, I snapped right back. And we kind of got into like a little argument. So I went ahead up into the hotel. That was the first time I looked in his face and he didn't look like the same man. Because I don't want to say I seen the demon in him, but I saw the demon in him. He didn't look the same. And I told him once we started talking and stuff, I said, you didn't look yourself last night when we had that argument, but it just got blown up, just thrown away. But that was the first time that I noticed it.
When I tell y'all that that's a real thing,
It's real.
so many people, and I've only been able to have these conversations with women. I really hope that God allows this space to open up for men to feel
For
comfortable
me.
to share their stories. But when I tell y'all that women have said time and time again, I looked in his face. He either looked different, he wasn't the same man, his eyes were black. It was
He
like
was not.
nothing was in there.
Black eyes. Black eyes. I'm telling you, I walked past him in that hotel and he didn't even like my heart is pounding right now because this is real. This is really real. That's the other thing too. When I was studying narcissism, I was studying from a psychological aspect, But when I started studying it from a spiritual aspect, I was able to leave them.
That's good.
So, yeah, the psychology gave me what I was dealing with, but it was deeper than that. And because it didn't touch on that spiritual side of that, I couldn't get it. When I tapped into the spiritual side, because I used to go to work and I used to tell people, I said, it seems like my soul collides with it. I didn't even know what I was saying. I'm like, our spirits, they're fighting. Like, it's not even us and our flesh. It's our spirits are fighting. And I didn't know what that was. It was driving me crazy. And every time I tried to talk about it, I was shut down. I was bugging. I was dumb. I was stupid. I was crazy. I was everything but and that was playing on me as well too. So yeah.
So y'all pull up to the hotel. Y'all just have a verbal disagreement. There's no physical altercation or anything, but
No
you could
physical.
see that something inside of him that he had been hiding was starting to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
because, correct me if I'm wrong, because it was just a verbal disagreement. I mean, y'all still fresh in this thing. And it's like, well, and you haven't been in relationships, a lot. So it's like, you're learning how to be with someone and someone who's not from where you're from. Because people have to understand different parts of the
Regional
world,
differences.
different parts of the country, people communicate differently. And people let's just say, since you're from New York, this is clearly not for all New Yorkers, but for the sake of this conversation, you're from New York. People in New York can communicate a totally different way with each other and not feel disrespected, not feel like someone's being rude to them or trying to hurt them. But then you can take those same people and bring them over to Mississippi, and everybody who has a conversation with them in Mississippi is like, why are you disrespecting me? Or in Florida, for that case, why are you disrespecting me? And you grew up like this, and you like, I didn't know this was, because in your mind, exactly what to say, how to disrespect.
He used that against me. I was told that I talked too aggressive and I needed to change that. He used that against me. So anytime I opened up my mouth to talk, or we were having a conversation or a disagreement, it was, we're not talking because you don't know how to talk to me, or we're not talking because you're raising your voice. Well, I talk loud. I'm a New Yorker. Not saying it's an excuse, but I've always talked loud. Now I can lower my voice. Thank you for reminding me. Let me lower my voice. No, no, no. Conversation's over because you already started off loud. The other thing was, oh, you haven't been in a relationship in 13 years. That's not how you do it. You're not supposed to do it like that. You're supposed to do it like this. So now I'm changing myself to fit what he thinks is right. So I'm losing myself from day one. Like that started day one.
When I tell y'all, they're going to take everything that they learn. Like, they learn about you not to learn how to love you. They learn about you to learn how to use it when they go to battle.
And he knew all this from the first time when we met on the chat, that I had been single for 30. He had an advantage already because he already knew how long I was single, what I was looking for, why I was on the site. Because when I go on those sites, I don't know about everybody else, but I'm transparent as possible. So he knew so much. He knew I was living alone with just the kids. He knew all of that. So he came through the door, teaching my daughter how to drive, spending time with my boys. He came through the door like, as I called him Gatman, because I felt like he was saving me, right? I had no idea what I was getting ready to get into.
Meanwhile, you got your own spot, you got your kids, you have a job, and homeboy is homeless.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, how long was it, did you say? Was it like the first month or 2 months?
It was after like 30 days, because it was like after 30, I started notice. So for me, I started noticing that when I was talking to him at night, he would be in a car with like no shirt on, and it would be so hot, and I'd be like, why don't you go in the house? And he'd be like, oh, everybody's sleeping there. But it was happening every night, and I'm saying to myself, I wonder if he ever goes to the house. And one time I got in his car and all his dirty clothes were like on the back seat, and I was like, I could smell it. I knew he was sleeping in that car, even though he was too embarrassed to tell me. So what I said to him was, I said, hey, I would really love to see your place. let's do it Friday. So I gave him a couple days. Let's do it Friday. Friday, he said, oh, we're not going to be able to see my place today. Da, 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 da. So I stopped him and I said, listen, I already done peeped that you don't have your own place. And it's okay. We can get you there. Let me help you get back on your feet. You don't have to be ashamed. You don't have to be embarrassed. I love you. Like, you don't have to be embarrassed or ashamed. And for days, I mean, there were times when I slept after we found out. There was times I slept in his car with him, and I had my own house, my own bed to sleep in. But I did it so that he would feel comfortable around me and not feel like he had to be ashamed for not having or for being down on his luck. Still not figuring out how you've been divorced for a year and you're still sleeping in your car. Still didn't figure out none of that, right? Because I threw that away because I didn't want to deal with it. That's part of why we take those red flags because we don't want to deal with it. Let's be honest. We don't want to deal with it, so we act like we don't see it. We turn a blind eye. We paint over it,
Baby,
and we keep.
I just need a strong beat in the background because you laying down these lyrics right now. When I tell you, and like you said, that's why we're having this conversation now. The conversation is being had because you and I have both been in situations where we didn't want to have the conversation then for either we don't want to deal with the emotional reaction that's going to happen. We don't want to embarrass the person and we trying to play eggshells around it. Y'all, when
And
you're
my
getting to
circle of
know
friends.
someone, when you're getting to know someone and y'all are interested in each other to become partners and potentially do something great together in life, it is not your responsibility at the very beginning to be walking on eggshells around someone else's ego, pride, or thinking that you're going to hurt their feelings. It's your responsibility to ask the hard questions, do the research, and do your due diligence so you don't end up in these situations.
Right.
Me and you could have avoided all the buffoonery and we would have just had the conversations. But like you said,
Mhm.
we don't want to deal with it, so we just let it slide and we
I
push
was in
it
a
back.
happy space. I was in a happy space, and I was just like, nah, I'm not dealing with that. And yeah,
Child.
until it became habit, until it became normal, and then until I had to have a nervous breakdown in order to realize everything that I was putting away. Yeah.
So, okay, he's homeless. He's still married. Does he have a job?
He has a job that he's working with his brother at the time. But he just started that job and it wasn't a good fit for him. He didn't have the experience he needed to do it. You know, his brother just got him a hookup. He didn't have the experience and the crew didn't really like him. So he didn't work there long. But he had told me he was on that job for a whole year. And then orientation came up, and you know, orientation is after 90 days, which means he had just started that job 2 weeks before I met him. And orientation came up, and I said to him, I said, well, why are you doing orientation now? Oh, I don't even know. I don't even know. Not even realizing this is his 90 days. All of this came full circle after, but yeah, yeah.
I can see clearly now. The rain is,
It's
baby,
gone.
because it's
And
real
I
out here
really
in these
can.
streets.
I really can see it now.
It's real out here in these streets. So
I
he
really
had
have.
a new job. His brother got him on working for
Mm-hmm.
somebody else.
Mm-hmm. So he didn't get on
And
his brother's crew like he thought. The company put him with a different crew where, you know, now you got to do it. You got to either know it or you don't. And that was it, what it was.
and he didn't know it. So this is still only a month and a half in to 3 months in.
This is less than 60 days because he did quit the job in November. So this is still less than 60. I met him September 28th. So this is still less than 90 days. It's less than 60 days.
Okay. And so from the research that I've been doing, I've learned that in many situations around the holidays, people who are abusive are triggered and they're more sensitive or easily triggered to react outside of their character, which, as you know now, that's their character. The nice part of them is the one that's, just trying to hang on for dear
Mm-hmm.
life or whatever it is, or
Mm-hmm.
just the
Mm-hmm.
facade. So now we're in November. He has no job. He has no place to live. We getting ready to get around the holidays where it's like, oh, baby, what you want to come over for my place and we can spend this time for Thanksgiving and this time for Christmas. How does that go with y'all?
So our first Thanksgiving, I'm very excited. I've never had a Thanksgiving with a significant other, so I am excited. I'm feeling like something's wrong, but whatever it is, I don't want to know because I'm moving forward, right? And so um, Thanksgiving is always on a Thursday. So I got up Tuesday morning. I gave him a kiss. I told him I loved him, and I went to work. I came home and he was not here. I called his phone and he did not answer. I called again and he did not answer. And I wasn't the one to call. He was the one that always called me all day, every day since Texas. But this particular day, I felt uneasy because the night before, um, we had like a some type of he always accused me of cheating or something. He went through my phone and it's Texas way before I met him, but he's still making an issue now. But because I didn't have it deleted. But I don't delete stuff. So
They pick
so
on everything to
yeah, so
take the
that
attention off of them. I'm gonna be quiet now.
yeah, so I'm like, that's before you. It has nothing to do with you. If you want to look through my phone, look from the date that we met up until now. You're not gonna find anything because I'm not out there doing anything. Anyway, so he went to sleep uneasy. But at this time, I didn't know that they'll just start a fight out of nowhere. I didn't know that yet. I didn't know that yet. So I'm trying to figure out how this argument started. Why is it going on? Because it's before your time and you could easily not be mad and let it go. But he didn't want to. So when I kissed him the next day and I went to work or whatever, he didn't call or whatever. Then finally he sent me a text message and he was just like, I'm on my way to Georgia. I really need to spend some time with my son. And I'm like, what? Now, this is after the wife has already attacked me 35 times. Why are you going down there? I want to see my son. Well, I'm not the woman that's going to tell you not to see your son. So go ahead. So he gets down there or whatever. But he was supposed to spend it with me. So this is our first Thanksgiving. He came back the day after Thanksgiving. But when he came back the day after Thanksgiving, guess what his wife did? She sent me all the pictures and all the videos of them while he was there, naked in her bed, drinking, sexing. She sent me that stuff. They both are
On
naked.
Facebook.
Yeah, in my inbox. Yep. And when he got back here, the first thing he said was, "Oh, she was trying to get back with me. She probably gonna tell you some crazy." Excuse my language. Now I don't know that she sent the videos. I don't know that they're there because I didn't really check Facebook inbox like that. So he done came back, told me everything that happened, everything but what is proof in the pictures, right? And so a couple days or maybe a week or so later, I see it. My heart is ripped. And she's like, is this my husband or is this your boyfriend? Like she's taunting me. And I immediately call him, like, hey, what happened when you went to Georgia? Da 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 da. He was like, nothing happened. Um, she's lying. I said, and this is what I said to her. I said, she says she has video and pictures. Oh, she a liar. She a liar. If she got it, tell her to send it. Tell her to send it. I said, you really want me to tell her to send it? I already had it. He said, yeah, tell her to send it. So I said, okay. I sent it to his phone. When I sent it to his phone, oh, he went off on me for sending it to him after he told me to do it. He went off on me. Then he called her and he talked to her like she was nothing. And she was crying and she was confused and she was cussing back because she was hurt too, right? But at the time, again, she's cursing him, but she's also telling me what she's going to do to me. And that's why I'm entertaining her because you're telling me what I don't want no problems with you, but you're trying to defend yourself at a level that I don't understand yet. You understand? So, anyways, once I went through it with him, I picked up my phone and guess what I did? I called her and I apologized to her, right? Told her, I appreciate you. I didn't understand what was going on. I do now. And I'm sorry for the part that I played in it when it was your feelings, right? And since then, we've been okay. We're not best of friends, but we're cordial.
So this is in the same, we ain't even hit 6 months yet.
We didn't hit 6 months yet. We didn't hit 6 months yet.
Y'all met up in September.
28th.
He flipped the switch a little bit. He dimmed the lights. He dimmed the lights in October.
October, about the first or second week in October. So we're less than 2 weeks now.
He lied and got fired from a job. In November, he back home with his wife, who he said he divorced a year ago.
And he didn't get fired.
Still married
He quit
to.
the job to go to Georgia. He had plans on staying in Georgia when he got there. He was never going to come back after Thanksgiving. That wasn't the plan. Through his wife. Because once he came back and she sent me all that stuff, that was the thing. And she sent me text messages of him telling her that he was going to be with her.
So why did he come back the next day?
He left on a Tuesday. And he came back on a Friday. He came back the day after Thanksgiving.
Right. Why?
I don't know why, other than the fact that when you get deeper into this, I don't even know how much time you got, but when you get deeper in the story, you're going to find out that I then became the wife, right? I then became the wife and watched him play that same game with somebody else. So I don't know why I haven't put that. He became a project for me after I learned on. So then I was trying to see if I could change things with knowing everything that I knew. So it was like a project for me, but I was still playing with fire. So I still got burnt because I wasn't emotionally ready to play with fire. So I don't know why he came back other than the fact that I was new supply and he had to lock that in.
How long, and this may be irrelevant, but how long were he and that wife, the wife before you, how long were they married? Do you know?
They were married. They were married 23 years.
They were married 23 years. Then he hopped on a dating app, met you, said he was divorced, came and moved to Florida as
pretty much moved in after like week 3 because he came. I let him in to take a shower. He bought some clothes over here. I washed them for him and he never left. But I'm thinking this is a man that's really into me because everything is moving fast because I had never been in a toxic relationship. I didn't know that toxic relationships move that fast. I was wondering, well, we never even talked about moving in, but he's moving. He lives here, so I don't know.
And how old were your kids at the time?
That's another reason why I was looking for a boyfriend. My oldest son was 22, moving out on his own. My middle son was 16, and my daughter was like, she had to be 12 or 13.
There's so much to unpack.
You're probably gonna need a part 2.
Because he moved in less than a month. This is a lot, and we ain't even made it to the end of the year.
Oh, he moved in less than a month, asked me to marry him in less than a month. And the only reason I ain't had no baby is because my tubes got tied 3 months before I met him.
I keep recapping because I just this is a real quick timeline. Y'all meet in September. He moves in. He moves in 3 weeks. He dims the light in October. He then leaves. He loses his job, goes back to Georgia, tells the wife that he's been married to for 23 years that he's going back to stay with her. Then he comes back the day after Thanksgiving, moves back in with you. You present him all the information, and he blows up at you because you did exactly what he told you to do.
And then called her and blew up on her for sending it and told her he would never speak to her again.
Now, I have to ask, after all that transpired, especially in the short time that it transpired, you were hurt real quick in a week. Monday, he got mad at you for something he found that y'all weren't even like when y'all weren't even talking. Tuesday, he leaves without telling you that he's gone. He stays gone for 3 days when he's supposed to spend Thanksgiving with you and your family. He comes back Friday and comes back to blow up on you again.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you kick him out?
I didn't kick him out because I didn't. The love bomb session was so strong. It was so severe, and I had never experienced it. That all I wanted to do was get back to that place, and I just felt like if I could get her out the picture, we would be good. Because that was our only problem. That's because that's the only problem that I saw at that time. So I was thinking, she's all the way in Georgia, he's all the way in Florida. If I could just get him to stay, right, we will be fine, right? Plus, he had told me all the things that she had done to him, all the bad things and the mean things and stuff like that. And I cared about him. And so I felt like I was the better woman for him because she was so mean. I didn't realize that some of that stuff was reactive. And I didn't realize that some of that stuff was never even true because I've never had anybody walk up to me and tell me a story and it's just all false. I've never had that happen to me. So I didn't know. So I'm believing things. And so I could have walked away. My sister told me to leave. Um, but I said, no, if I could just get him to the divorce, we'll be fine.
And we also have to remember that you're operating in a space of something that you grew up in thinking was correct. Like you knew it was off, but you also didn't see what was right as an example. So this was your normal.
It was normal.
Go back and forth. You might
disappoint me and then love me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You might have thought every single relationship is supposed to be like that. Because if you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes back, he blows up that Friday. Y'all make it through the weekend. Like, and then he's back calm. Like, how does he pretend like Friday didn't happen and he just flipped?
Every time. Every time. It happens and then it's not there. The same way that I grew up. Like you got in trouble when you were bad, and then later on everything is normal. We love you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Does he get a job before the end of the year?
Yeah. He gets a job right away. He gets another job right away. Doesn't pay much, so he can't help out financially, but he gets a job right away. Because supposedly he's sending his money to Georgia to his son, which that wasn't happening either, but whatever.
So now we coming up on Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about it.
He doesn't celebrate Christmas. And so there will be no Christmas, pretty much. But my kids celebrate Christmas and I celebrate Christmas. So the tree still went up. The gift still got. He found the reason not to be here. That time he was not in Georgia, but he felt like, for what he says, he was upset that he was around my kids and couldn't be around his own kids because the ex-wife was keeping the son from him, was what he said. That turned out to be BS later on too, but whatever.
Of course. At this point, everything that comes out of his pores is a lie. Like even his breath is a lie because you just like that's bananas.
Pretty much. When I asked him why he lied to me about being married, he said because if he didn't lie, he wasn't going to be able to get me. And he really, really loved me and he really wanted me. And that was how I stayed with him after I found out that, because I was brought up never, ever to date a married man. I don't care what that situation is. You don't date a married man. Now, I made excuses. Oh, she's all the way in Georgia. It's okay this time. It's never okay. It's never okay.
So outside of the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, because up at this point, he's just yelling at you. And whenever he's upset about something, he's yelling at you. He's blaming you for whatever he's going through, whatever happened.
After the first time that I begged him to stay, After then every argument was, I could leave. I'll leave. I'll leave. I'll leave. And so one day I had a conversation with him and I told him, I said, listen, um, I think I'm experiencing some abandonment issues. Like I think I have abandonment issues. Because when I was younger, every time I didn't do what somebody thought I should do, they would tell me, there were people in my family that would tell me, we should send you back to the agency. Remember, I told you I was adopted. Or we should send you back here. Or we should send you back. It was always a situation where I could be sent back somewhere, right? And now he's doing the opposite. I'll just leave. I'll just leave. And I told him that that was like something, and I didn't even notice that that was a issue that I had when I told him that it was an issue. I just knew that the feeling I felt every time he would tell me, instead of listening to what I had to say, that if I didn't like it, he could leave. Leave. And every argument, I promise you, every argument, he packed his stuff back into a garbage bag and would walk out the door. Wouldn't listen nothing. And I just kept saying, listen, couples don't, I knew couples don't do that. They don't have to pack up every time there's a disagreement. We can talk about it. Never. It would be pack up and leave. And then he would come back.
Like when? Because bro, where you going? We know you don't
And
have.
don't
I
know.
guess he got his car, so
He would park in parking lots and sit there and call me 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 and call me. Tell me how messed up I was. Tell me how wrong I was. Tell me I don't understand because I ain't been in no relationship and I ain't never been married. And then he would come back and he would say, we're going to work it out again. Now, when he comes back, I feel like it's all my fault. And so now I'm dealing with myself because this is my fault that he keeps doing this.
this Joker is exhausting.
No, you have no idea. You have no idea.
I want to pause really quick because even though I say that, I mean, it is exhausting because just being able to hear the back and forth and the frequency of the back and forth and the intensity of the back and forth, people don't understand. And one of my sisters in a previous episode, probably like a month or so ago, said that they wear you down mentally. Like they exhaust, they deprive you of sleep, they wear you down mentally, and it's like for some reason they have this stamina to know that they can keep going, and eventually the person that they're doing this to, their host, is going to break down. And it's
Yeah.
like they got the stamina of the Energizer Bunny to keep up with the foolishness until that person breaks down. And
And when they
then,
can't break you, baby, they leave you.
yep.
And that's the only thing after everything. Because once he was gone, so many other memories surfaced that I had buried. And this man really, really treated me like crap. And I was just a smiling and going and telling everybody everything's okay. But he really, really did a number. Hmm. That he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. And he knew that I was afraid for him to leave. And that's why he did it.
Once they get a whiff or an inkling that the honest truth is, once they do something that warrants you walking away or that warrants you pausing the relationship and reevaluating the relationship, and they see that you don't walk away and you don't reevaluate it, oh, they set, like they digging in, then they're digging their feet in, they're digging everything in, and they're getting real comfortable because then it becomes, I see she stayed around, let me push the needle further and see how much longer. And it's just like, it's like the example of when you, how do you boil a frog? Well, you put it in a pot of water and then you slowly heat the temperature so that the frog doesn't just jump out. If somebody
Hmm.
comes to you on the first date and they slap you in the face, they ain't no second date because there's no
No,
emotional ties, there's no relationship, there's no, you don't know any backstory to what happened. Like you just like, this ain't right. I don't, first of all, let me go ahead and call the police on you right now. But
no.
when they have the opportunity to slowly warm that water up, they just drop something in there every now and then they push it a step further the next time because they
Hmm.
know that they've raised that tolerance bar that we didn't set. Because in our minds, it's like, I know, I said this before. I was like, I don't even see how anybody could be in an abusive. If you hit me you hit me one time, it's going down. Ain't nobody gonna put their hand all this big talk.
And that's because a lot of people only consider abuse physical, but it's definitely emotional and mental as well. And we got to we have to be vocal about that, right? Because what I went through was worse than somebody punching me. I could have took a punch. I could have took a punch. Yeah.
And people don't realize that, because a physical act of abuse eventually heals, depending on the severity. It may not heal the same, but it heals.
But a bruise heals.
Right. That emotional, that mental abuse, that psychological abuse, that's putting a hole in something that can't be sewn back up.
Correct.
Because of the environment that it's in. And because of the wind and the storms and the rain that's coming in that environment, that hole is going to open up. That's why people have flags on their porch that look raggedy and run down. It just take that one hole and you keep it in the same elements. It's just going to keep tearing. It's going to keep breaking down. And that's what they do to you psychologically.
That's exactly what he did.
And this is for anyone who's in an abusive relationship right now. You're never going to have a chance to heal until you get yourself out of that environment. You can't get better in there.
And I like to say, another reason why I stayed so long was because I didn't know how to I was so broken, right? But not only that, but nobody around me knew I was broken, right? And so I was so broken that I felt like the only way I could heal was if he wrapped me up in his arms and held me, because that was where I felt safe at. Even though right after that, I would feel like I would see the eggshells again. But if it was just for that 1 minute, I'm telling you, it's very comparative to a drug addiction. If I could just get a hug for a minute, I could probably take 6 more B words. I could probably take 3 more days of yelling, but I just need one hug for that 1 minute, because that's where I felt safe at. And people say, "Oh, you can't heal where you were broken." I believe that, but I believe that people also heal in stages. And so when I say I've been with him 5 years, mentally it's been off for a year and a half or whatever, but I still needed him in between times. And that's another reason why I kept going back, or just allowing him to come back. I wasn't necessarily going back. He'll come back over and over again, but he's not coming back for the right reasons. And so that's why I dealt with it longer, even after knowing what I was dealing with, because I didn't know how to heal by myself.
Right. And if we're looking at it from that standpoint, perhaps, because this is your experience, but perhaps it wasn't necessarily that those moments were healing you as much as they were
continuing to break me,
pouring in a Band-Aid on it.
It was giving, what it was doing was, it was giving me that, it was keeping that little bit of hope. It was putting a Band-Aid on a wound. And so what happened was, one day I said to myself, "You're really going to keep getting 5 minutes of comfort for weeks of abuse over and over again? Like, that can't be fixing you. You've tried everything. Try no contact. Try it." I tried that. I failed a few times. Ooh, but Friday will be 9 weeks.
Congratulations.
9 weeks. But he's been out of the home over 2 years.
Wow. And I'm so glad that you said that, because we have to have, this is for everybody in any situation, we have to have grace with ourselves. Everybody is experiencing life for the very first time. You ain't been here before in this. I mean, if you believe in other worlds and stuff, that's fine, but you haven't been in this world, in this body, in these experiences before. And we have such high expectations of other people and ourselves. and we like the embarrassment and the shame and the guilt, and we expect to be able to like, girl, you look what you've been through. Now come on, now pick yourself up, let's go and move on. Why would you go back? Why would you open up that door? And it's easy to beat ourselves down about it, but this is a safe space, and I'm glad you were so honest about that, because somebody needed to know that. You can say go no contact, because in all reality, that is the best way to actually heal from something as traumatic as relationship abuse in whatever form it is. You have to cut yourself off from allowing that person who has abused you to have access to your mind, because that's
Mm-hmm.
the main thing. Once they get a hold of your mind, it's the game, and then you start thinking, like you said, you hold on to that little bit of hope, that good side that they showed you, the good side that you fell in love with, the good side who isn't really them. You hope that one day it just becomes them. And I'm
That
not
I
saying
got
that
in the
it
first
can't.
30 days, but stayed 5 years for, right? So it's I'm still searching for that high 5 years later, and it's never coming back because guess what? It's only getting worse. It's only getting worse. Yeah, it's horrible.
And the thing too, you said that he remarried. So he's married now, right?
No, actually, he'll be married Saturday. He's getting married Saturday.
He's getting married Saturday, and he's still reaching out to you.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Well,
I'm
he has it now in a couple weeks. He has it now in a couple weeks. I blocked him, and I didn't answer the last couple of calls, so I have not spoke to him. I have no desire to speak to him. Um, if we fast forward a little bit, um, he actually moved out when I went on vacation to DR. My nephew booked me and my sister because our birthdays are 3 days apart. He booked us to DR for two girls to go to DR and enjoy themselves. When I came back, he had moved out. He left my kids here and moved out. So whenever a man moves out of your house, you have to say that y'all not together, right? Because nobody that's moving backwards. So I was telling him, yeah, we're not together, but go ahead. He wanted to move back in so many times since then. I wouldn't let him move back in because he had signed the lease. And I felt like at this point, now I'm knowing what a narcissist is. Now I'm trying to set some boundaries. So my boundary to him was if you thought enough to leave my kids alone while I'm in DR, I'm out of the country, and you pack up and go. Because he says I was traveling like I didn't have a man. It was a birthday gift. I had already
how,
took him on two vacations before then.
okay. Hold on. How old were your kids at this point when you went on this vacation and he left?
17. I had my nephew and my daughter. So my two boys had already moved out. So my daughter was 17, and I had custody of my nephew who was also 17. They were 4 months apart. And he left
So,
him. And his thing
wow.
was, they grown, they could do for themselves. That's not the point. I understand that they're 17. The point is I left you in charge with them. And not only did he moved out into an apartment. So he already had that up his sleeve. Hmm. Hmm.
That's bananas. The level of selfishness that they are have the audacity to exhibit is beyond me.
Hmm.
Like
And then when he
everybody's
couldn't pay
selfish.
his rent, he wanted to break his lease and move back in. And
When
I
he
knew
couldn't
it was
pay his,
about,
so he's still struggling with a job.
oh, he went from job to job to job to job to job. And then finally he landed a good job, the one that paid the most, and that was when he decided he was going to move out and leave. But see, because I was holding him down before that, right? But then he still couldn't afford because he doesn't have a budget. And so he wanted to move back in, and he was asking every month right before rent, can he move back in? Can he move back in? And I didn't let him. I told him when the lease was up. The lease was going to be up in October. In June, in May, I went into the hospital for diverticulitis. He was there with me, but he was cheating then, and I didn't know. So he was leaving me at the hospital to go see this other girl. And then in July 4th of 2023, I posted a picture of him cooking for us for the 4th of July, and I captioned it, we're going to make the best of it. Because technically, I really haven't spent any holidays with him. Every holiday is a fight. And if I did spend a holiday with him, it turned into a fight later or was a fight before. So the 4th of July, which was also a fight that day as well, but I posted him and then the girl got in my inbox. She said that was her man, said she was pregnant, and that was the end of it. So she met him in less than a month, got pregnant by him, and yeah. And now he's doing to her what he was doing to me. And I really, really appreciate her because I probably wouldn't have survived if she had not come along. And she can curse me out all she want. But like I told her, listen, sweetie, if you ever need to call me, it may be a year, maybe 2 or 3. You gonna feel the need to want to call me. And you're more than welcome to. And I can have a civilized conversation with you, but I'm not gonna let you disrespect me. Mhm.
It's a blessing that you're transparent enough to share that information, because
Mhm.
I mean, he's been gone for 2 years and you've basically admitted doing the no contact thing. Like, you don't deserve this. You see what he is, you see what he's done, you don't want it, but it doesn't stop the fact that it's still hard not to have something inside of you for some outrageous reason still caring for that person. And it happens more than people realize. And this is for anybody who's questioning if they need to go no contact or started going no contact and they fell off and they want to go again, but it's like, well, if I try again, I'm going to fall off. Like, just keep trying. The only person that loses is someone who quits. And this,
That's right.
everybody's journey is different. Everybody's exit is different. I can judge anybody for not being able to cut somebody off. Somebody can judge me for getting in a situation. Like, anything can be judged, but we're here to
Mhm.
encourage you and to help you understand that it's gonna, like, you're not alone. You're not the only person that's trying to cut somebody off, that's trying to go no contact, and you're struggling with it, and you want to beat yourself up and blame yourself knowing that you don't deserve this. Don't. You've been beat up and blamed enough, whether it be physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. You don't need to
Mhm.
add to that. This is the time for you to hear what Cass is saying. This is the time for you to understand what she's been through, to see that you can survive, you can make it out on the other side, and to know that you
Mhm.
really have to do the work to get there, though. You've got to see
Definitely got to do the
what
work.
is it about you that's causing you to stay and not really hold on to your value. Like,
Mhm.
kind of valuable, but you haven't tapped into the value that you were born with. Otherwise, you wouldn't go back. And it's a
Right.
journey. Healing is a journey. I wonder what
Yeah.
people would think if they had some kind of abrasion or broken bone or cut or something, and they got to watch in real time on a screen, like in your room, your insides healing.
How it's healing. Yeah.
Right.
And it heals very slow from the inside out. Yes. Absolutely. 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 Like, so he was so I you said he's been out of the home for 2 years. Not really. Because even with this new woman, he was here 1 to 3 weeks every month for the last year. It
Wow.
was December when I was, yeah, it was December. I was sitting at work and he was here. And I said, and she was on my line and she's upset that he's here. It got to the point where she knew he was here and I knew he was there. And now we're just sharing this man. It's disgusting. It's low on. Part of me wanted to pay her back. I'm not gonna lie about that. So even when I was strong enough to leave him, I spent the block just to show her what I told you he was. Trying to prove a point, trying to heal. I had my hand all over the place and I was healing and then I was going 2 steps back. And then I was healing, I was going 2 steps back. But now I once I saw that thing in him in December when I came home and told him he had to leave, I watched this man. He wouldn't let me have a real conversation with him. He was actually saying la 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 la, and I was telling him, "Listen, I really love you, but this is it for me." He would not let me close that thing up. He was actually sitting there like a kid doing that. La 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 la. And what I was saying was, listen, I wanted to end things because I knew when I got him out of here, I knew that was the last time. I felt it in my soul. I felt it 2 days before I even did it. I got confirmation from God 2 days before I did it, and then I had a friend of mine that hadn't spoke to in a long time. She said, God told me to tell you to move forward. And I said, this got to be it. So I called him from work. I told him he had to go. He wanted to fight. He broke my chain. This now he got a little violent, but that was our last encounter. He popped my chain. He mushed me a little bit, threw me on a chair a little bit, or whatever. And I wanted to fight back, but I didn't fight back. And I'm gonna tell you why. And I'm normally a fighter because I knew it was over. It was irrelevant. It didn't matter. Just go. Just go. Just go. Just go. And once I got him out, that was it for me. That was it. I'm talking about I felt like I came home one day and I felt vibrations on my wall. And I don't know if I'm going to describe this to you. And hopefully somebody else has went through this because I'm reluctant to who I tell this to. But he comes here and when he leaves, it felt like there was big bubbles on my wall. So when I was walking through my house, there were like bubbles pushing, but I couldn't see them. I called my friend and I said, listen, something's in this house. Like I feel bubbles. And she said, pray and meditate. And every day I pray and I meditate. And that thing left the house. I can't let it back in.
Let me tell you, the reason he turned toddler mode on, the reason he got aggressive physically was because that time, the same way you knew it was the last time, he felt that energy shift.
He knew it. I
His
saw it in his
spirit,
face.
that thing that's in him that's causing all of this disruption and this imbalance in so many people's lives, it felt the end, like that parasite. It felt the host pulling away. And it was like, nah, we gotta do whatever we can do to stay. Man, that's banana.
He asked me for a hug and I wouldn't even give him the hug. And normally I'd be like, yeah, let's get this last hug. I did not want that on. I'm telling you, there was something there. He turned. I'm talking about. I watched him from my bedroom to the living room couch. He sat there and he tried to gaslight me. Oh, you never loved me. That you used me. You did. And normally I try to defend myself. I didn't even try to defend myself because I knew it was it. I knew. I felt it 2 days before. I just didn't know how I was gonna get him out. And God said, "You the same way you got him in there. That's the same way you get him out. That's how you do it."
Hold it right there. Hold it right there. Because somebody needs to hear that whole words you just said. Listen, you're in a space right now and you're not understanding or you don't know how to get to the other side. The same way you got the door is still open. It still swings open.
Mm-hmm.
The same way you got him in is the same way you're going to get him out. The same way you got yourself in, sis or bro, it's the same way you can get yourself out. It may be scary. It may be, if you need to have an exit plan because it's a physical situation, then get yourself an exit plan. But please know the exit is still available as long as you're still alive.
Woo.
My
It's
sis
only
said the
available while
same
you're
way.
alive. It's only available while you're alive. Woo.
It's only available while you're still alive. Somebody needs to know that.
Woo. That's strong. That's strong. Yeah.
Girl, you
Yeah.
said the same way you got him in there, it's the same way you get him out.
The
And
same way.
y'all, I don't know if y'all are hearing, I don't know if you're hearing everything she's saying. And maybe you are because I can't see y'all, but I can feel everything you're saying because I've been there and I see every word you're saying. The gaslighting, that might have went over your head. But she said he turns this, like she kicking him out. No, we done. So what does he do? He knows that she likes the embrace. Well, let me just go ahead and give her this embrace because I don't like this energy. So I'm going to see if I can shift it a little bit. It doesn't work. He sees that doesn't work. Then she said she sticks with the guns and she's not even being aggressive at this point. She's not even in the nature. She's now check this. She's now in the nature that he claimed he wanted at the very beginning. You starting this conversation off loud. She ain't talking loud. She talking soft. If she talking at all. You being aggressive. She ain't being aggressive. She's retreating. All of the things that he claimed he wanted, once she started implementing that, once she started exercising self-control and having control instead of allowing him to pull out that reaction from her, then he comes with, you never loved me. You were using me. Homeboy, you the only person that didn't have no place to live. You the only person who didn't have a steady job.
Yeah.
What we
I got the same
doing?
house. when I met you. I done did some upgrades since you left. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
What we doing? Oh my
yeah,
gosh. I just needed
yeah.
to run that back real quick because somebody's in it and they needed to hear they needed to see and hear
And you,
what's happening to
you
them
said, you
from
said,
somebody else's
oh, come
experience.
here. You know I don't like when I fight with you and when you mad at me. Come here, come here, come. I'm talking about he tried to hold me down and kiss all over me, and I didn't even fight him off of me. I just laid there and I said, when he get off of me, it doesn't matter. It's over. It's a wrap. Let me tell you what this man did. This man goes back to this girl, the girl that he met on my clock. He goes back to her, have her call me to tell me that he's back with her. I just told you that was December, right?
Right.
Now he just told her in November that he wanted to marry me, right? But they're getting married March. So you see how quick he moved? Now the only reason he's doing that is to secure his place to stay up there. He then gave her a baby, allegedly. Um, he needs a place to stay, and she just came into a settlement. So now, because when she was begging to marry him before, it was, oh no, we're not getting married. Now it's we're getting married. But that's fine. Like I told her when she called me with that rah-rah stuff back in December, I said, listen, I know who he is. You don't ever have to worry about me again. But if you ever need somebody to talk to, you can call me, whether that be a week or a year. But you don't have to worry about me because I know who he is, and I can't. I promise you, I can't unsee it. That demon that he turned into when I was telling him to get out, all that aggression, all of that pushing me around. He normally he doesn't do that. Like he'll say something like that, but we really don't fight. We might have had a few scraps in the beginning, but all that other stuff, we don't do that. Then he tried to stay talking about if I didn't find his spare key, he wasn't going to leave the house. He was trying to stay. He wanted to stay. And then he goes home to this place and then he has to curse me out and tell me all this stuff. And I said to him, I said, you broke my heart, but I love you. And that's what I was trying to tell him. He goes back and tells, oh, she said I broke her heart because I want to be with you. So I told him, listen, you're going to believe, pick and choose what you want to believe, just like I did in the beginning, too, when his wife was trying to tell me. So I ain't going to try to tell you. I'm just going to tell you I'll be there for you if you need me. That's it. I'm not going to fight with you.
My
Yeah.
sister said she ain't with the rah rah. You keep them pom pom.
No, not for that. And he ain't working still? No, he's been out of work over a year and a half now.
A
No.
parasite is gonna parasite. You hear me? And a donkey is gonna donkey. Cass,
And
what would you say? This is, I mean, we about to bring this to a close. What would be your advice? Because I mean, you're talking to sis over there, and it's obvious that you have love for people and you can love people from a distance, right? What would you say
absolutely.
to someone who's currently in this situation, who has seen the signs? How would you encourage them in this moment?
I would tell them that we all know it's not easy. We know that there's something called soul ties and trauma bonds exist, and they are very hard to break. But I would tell somebody that you cannot heal in the same environment that broke you. I would tell people to have a exit plan, but I would tell them to move at their comfort level. Um, I would tell them not to beat themselves up. I would advise counseling. Um, I would tell them that it is so much better on the other side. I've tried the no contact. I've been 2 weeks, I've been 3 weeks, but this week I'm 9 weeks. My body feels better. I just had somebody walk up to me at work today and tell me I am glowing. I've had people tell me last week I was glowing. The glow up is real. I would say journal. I would say talk about it. We're so afraid to talk about it because we're embarrassed. Like I told you, my group of friends are on a higher scale than he ever was. And so I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to tell him that a man that I took from sleeping in a car was doing so much damage to me. And then I was sitting there and I was allowing it. I would tell them after they research everything narcissist, research everything about them. I would tell them to heal from the inside out. I would tell them to heal their inner child. Oh, I would tell them so much. But most importantly, I would tell them that Healing is a journey. It does not happen overnight. You have your good days, you have your bad days, but overall, it improves. Everything improves about it. My hair done got longer. I'm drinking more water. I feel great. And I was feeling very sick when I was in that relationship. I was always tired, always stressed. My hair was falling out. I just didn't look myself. I just didn't look myself. My blood pressure has gone down. Anxiety is at an all-time low. No meds. I'm not taking any meds. Um, I feel great, girl. I would just tell them, find them a buddy. Or you know what else I would tell them? Don't talk to your normal friends. Let me tell you what I mean by normal friends. Your friends that have never been through this type of trauma before. You can't talk to them. They don't believe it. They think it's exaggerated. And they tend to downplay it, which was why I stopped talking because everybody kept saying, "Girl, you so strong. You've been through this. You've been through that." But nothing has broke me like that has broke me. But I'm gonna tell you what, it was necessary. It was necessary. When I asked God, why would you do this to me at 40, 45? Said it's necessary. It's because you never healed that inner child that's been broken and you've been just dragging her with you, dragging her with you. And that's why you found yourself in situations like that. And that's why you can look back and say, oh, something was wrong here. But now that I love on her, I don't have the same issues. Now that I have the discernment, I can see it a mile away. So I would tell them to journal. I would tell them to talk to people that's been it. I would tell them to join some of those groups. And I definitely would tell them to watch some YouTube videos because I learned so much. I watched
YouTube University is real deal.
I watched the Reverend. I watched the spiritual lady. I watch it from every angle. But I'm gonna be honest, from the spiritual standpoint was the one that grabbed me and put me in a chokehold. And that was where my healing became successful and progressing. Yeah.
I love that. I love all of that. And I hope whoever is supposed to receive that receives it, accepts it, and acts on it. My last two questions. How would you define confidence and what does it mean to you now?
Oh, confidence, strong, um, knowledgeable, um, warrior spirit, um, powerful. Um, because I haven't always been confident in myself. So now that I am, it's powerful for me. I haven't even always loved myself. I didn't even know that I wasn't loving myself. I find so this healing journey has been so crazy for me because it's coming in segments, right? And so I would say that once I researched narcissism, then I had to research attachment styles, abandonment issues. I felt myself while I was trying to find out what was wrong with the narcissist, and that's probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me. I am not the same person. I was waiting to go back to who I was before he met me, but I am somebody new. Um, I'm better than she was. I'm better than she was. I'm smarter than she was. I'm knowledgeable than she was. I'm more confident than she was. And I can honestly tell you that I love myself. And I'm going to continue to love myself.
I need a whole tambourine over here. I just feel like you preaching.
That's how I feel. That's just how you just don't understand.
I
I was
do
in a
though.
dark place.
I do understand.
There was no lights on, and there was none of my friends around, and it was just me against the world. And so the fact that I came out that tunnel and I am smiling, I mean, I've gotten a promotion, I've gotten a new truck, I'm working out, I'm drinking water. I just feel great. I feel good, and it's full circle for me because today's his birthday, and I picked this day especially to go full circle.
Oh, where?
Yes. So happy
That's
birthday.
amazing. Oh my goodness. Well, I ain't got nothing else to say. Oh my gosh,
This
Cassandra.
is first time. I'm telling you, I'm coming out stronger than ever. I did this interview with you, really because I'm thinking I'm trying to find ways of what I can do to help other women in a situation. It's something that I don't want to see somebody go through. It's something I don't want to see my boys go through, my daughter go through. We didn't know nothing about narcissism. It's a new word for us. And a lot of people do abuse the word, but the fact remains that they are out there. And we didn't know how to protect ourselves against people like this. And I want to make sure that if I could just touch one person or change one person or help one person, then I've done my job, because that's all I want to do is give back to the community that gave to me when I was down and there was nobody to talk to. I've made so many stranger friends than I did than the friends that I have in flesh sitting right beside me and didn't know that I was dying on the inside for 5 years.
That's powerful. That is powerful. Cassandra, I just want to thank you. That you came and that you graced us with your presence, with your light, with your energy, with your encouragement. It has been an absolute privilege and honor to have this moment in time to share with you in the hopes that it reaches everyone it's supposed to reach and helps people heal in their own time the way that they are supposed to. Oh my
Just
goodness.
keep trying. They just got to keep trying. It's gonna click, because I didn't think I was coming out, but I did.
I'm coming out on you, trying to get the funny, sunny.
And I love your energy.
Baby, it be
This
lyrics in
thing
my head.
is easy.
I have to hold back the lyrics in my head when y'all be talking because I be like, there go a song.
Does it make you? It makes you excited. I try. I know you met me in one of those groups. I don't know which one. I
Yep.
don't even care. But
Yep.
sometimes I try to get on there and I just try to talk. I can't respond to all of them. But there's always one that just gets me, and I say, you know what? You got to say something. You got to say something, because some people just don't know and they think that they're alone. I thought that I was alone, and I was like, oh, And then I said, oh, it's a whole community out here. These women can help me. Let's go.
Let's
Let's
go.
go. Let's go.
Oh my goodness.
So
Y'all,
good.
thank y'all for tuning in. This has been another amazing episode of the Confidence Way podcast. And we hope that you keep showing up, keep sharing love, and keep shining your light. Y'all know what it is.